Oh boy. This one is going to be lengthy, but it's for a really great cause. I kid you not. This one is going to be a bit lengthy. This one is about the Bible. It's got all the elements in the making, but it's necessary. So I've already got my notes. So let me drop my scriptures. So this is about what was shown to me, what was told to me. And I have to do this live. I have to do it because it's part of the spiritual process. It's part of the spiritual journey. And I'm going to try not to make this about me today because I know I can do that. I'm trying not to make this about me. I had a whole stream dedicated to me, so I'm going to try to stay focused. I'm still on that vibe right now. Like reality is just taking hold of me. Um, so this is about the ascent offering and particularly the biblical personality that I'm observing is Aaron, spelled Aaron, Aaron, Moses Aaron. Um, the task for Aaron would have been, at that time, would have been enormous. He, um, not only, of course, was a speaker on Moses' behalf, but Aaron also becomes most trusted um, priest, Levite priest, exact, um, to to Yahweh, Old Testament. So this within the first five books, and I was in a vision, and I was shown that Kamala Harris, she's okay. So the law that this represents is no longer necessary. But the blessings of that law, because God's word isn't because God's gifting. So what these sacrifices represent spiritually, those are eternal, which is transmitted through spirit in terms of like spiritual gifts accordingly, according to people's strengths, their work, etc. And so spirit was revealing to me that Vice President Kamala Harris is receiving the ascent offering. And what makes this interesting, of course, we could look at, okay, modern times with the modern lens. This offering, yes, it has a lot to do with, usually has a lot, well, a lot of the time it has a lot to do with the males, like essentially the first born males at that. So interesting enough. But we know that the Bible demonstrates no respect of persons, and and of course, spirit can be quite literal. And I talk about Hagar and Abraham. God, God gave Hagar prophetic information, firstly before he in turn shares with Abraham. Likewise, God also gave prophetic information to Abraham that in turn reached, to the ears through the messenger uh, Gabriel, um, her ears. So it's interchangeable. But there's a lot that can go on about Hagar, so I'm gonna leave that. Uh, I have lives on that. Um, And by the way, Kamala Harris is very much aligned with Hagar, but not as she is Hagar. That Hagar is associated with the Palestinian people, now Gaza today, and their ties. Okay, they call themselves Palestinian. They call themselves, Ghazian, or etc. Middle Eastern. They refer to themselves as Muslim, but the Bible says that they come from the house of Jacob, and they do, and that is biblical. They come from the house of Jacob. So, as do Israel. Okay, as do Israel. Let's get that clear, because that's the point. God engrafted other nations, including Egypt, which I'm going to talk about that one. That's Leviticus 24, equality and self-determination. So there were other nations that were engrafted into the house of Jacob before they enter into the promised land, before they enter into the land of Canaan. Okay. So, and then you gotta acknowledge that this goes Noah, Ham, Canaanites, the promised land, land of Canaan. Um, yeah, you gotta acknowledge that. Abraham, yes, many as the stars, this many as the sand, the grains of sands, etc. But also in the midst of them are the engrafted people. And when they were engrafted, they were given all of the powers and all of the freedoms, things of the, and blessings of those sons of Israel, even to the sons of Israel, meaning an Egyptian man and the Israeli woman, as explained in Leviticus chapter 24, could live right in the middle, and the Bible describes them as thriving in the midst of the sons of Israel. And then you got the Levite, the priests, and everybody else moving throughout the community, including other people who are engrafted, and then would be then living in the land. And now what's interesting, science. Okay, so my Bible doesn't even, there's no reason for my Bible to even talk about a war in Canaan, but for some reason, other people say that their Bible talks about, they said the Bible talks about a massive war in Canaan. Well, the archaeologists went to where this all would have taken place, and only found farmers and cohesively working together, and they found five bodies of who are Palestinian, and who, like they said, 90 percentile percentage blood Palestinian connect to Canaan, the land of Canaan, the ancient ancestry of Canaan of the Bible. And they were farmers. These five um, individuals were farmers, and no sign, and the quote was, DNA sometimes don't always tell the story of a war, but it doesn't look like there doesn't look like, no, there was no war, and there's no DNA scientific evidence. There's more of an evidence that there wasn't ever a war and that they cohabitated. There were hunters, and then there were farmers. So, which is interesting enough, which is very interesting. We know that the farmers were up north, and the hunters came from the south of Africa. So we know that that would be the Arab. So, who kept going up and up and up and up, and they going up and up and up, and Turkey went up and up and up and even up. So, but Muslim and Arab, nevertheless, and that's where they were moving up to, but they were considered hunters, and then they met the farmers, and then they worked together in that land where is Canaan would have you be, the promised land. And so when the excavationalists and the people who do the whole, they go find like old artifacts, and I forget where they excavated. I got that one. And yeah, they discovered no war had taken place. But you've got people saying there was this great big war, and it makes it sound like it was like um hold on. I keep this word keeps coming up and I need to say it correctly. Um hold on. Uh what? Let me see. If I can find it. Hmm. Hold on, maybe that's it. So, it makes it sound like, Israel were. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. The Bible describes Israel not being very happy that other nations are um, are entering the Promised Land. They made that very clear. The Bible makes that very clear. But the premise of the Bible is not describing that situation. It's not describing um, being prejudiced as like that's what they were doing. They were living side by side, and it was under the decree. It was a decree that they were supposed to do that, and they were given uh, commands by Yahweh to do exactly that. Yeah, xenophobia. So yeah, they were making. They like to. It's like they make it seem like like xenophobia was going on. Xenophobia would have broken God's Yahweh's commandment. So there wasn't no xenophobia, and they tried to be, if you want to say racist, they tried that, and maybe xenophobia, and maybe you know prejudice against I guess the religious, whatever that term is, because the man is Egyptian and the woman is she's an Israelite woman, and they also had an offspring, and the man was picking at the offspring for being both Israeli, his mom, and Egyptian, his father, and Yahweh came down on him, brought the whole. He used the word congregation, and he was. They said pelted. They used the word pelted. So he was dealt with. So that means Yahweh, even before they enter into the promised land, because they hadn't even entered the promised land yet. They don't enter to the promised land, and when they enter, it doesn't say they had a great war and entered the promised land. You know, if there's a war, they're going to say it. No, they entered into the promised land, and this is the way that they were supposed to treat. It's specifically like this is the way you treat each other. This is the way Israel treats Israel. This is the way Israel treat Canaan. This is the way Canaan treat Canaan. Even Canaan were not allowed to practice these things. Even Canaan. And what I mean these things, they weren't allowed, just as the people, the Israel, or even sons of Israel, they were not even allowed to have someone, even if it was like a relative, it used the examples of uncle and a nephew, and vice versa, to work without compensation, or to set one's sons up to work without compensation. They had to work for hire, and also the notion that people were working all of the years of 7 or 49, I believe. Is it 49? Yeah, 49, and not paid. No, they were paid. They were paid. They had a salary. In fact, they were given tools. Okay, so anyway, we're going to go into it a little deeper. It's going to be a long one, so I'm not in a rush. Welcome. It's a pleasure. I'm Psychic Donald. So, okay. So, what I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is this. The way that the Bible in its original word, I guess, reading it from Hebrew to English sounds so much different. And I've actually have proof of this because there was a gentleman and he had a Bible, and his Bible is like, what color is it? I mean, it's like the color of this pen, blue. Oh, the color of the shirt. Oh, there you go. And a little lighter than this. And he's reading it from word. And his book said, he read a passage. I screenshot because I don't want to say his name, but because it was just the knowledge. Because I said, there's a party that says it couldn't be a Bible out there like that, other than the Bibles that were beforehand. Yes, I could understand the Bible, but today, yes, there is in the Bible, it says exactly what it says, but then I read its original context. I mean, like from Hebrew to English, when I mean context, and it's doesn't say that at all, and it's like they remove the part where it says, and the man should be paid in gold and silver. He gets paid in silver, and they made it like, you do him dirty, and, and there's nothing he can do about it. It's ordained, and then it just stops right there, and that's all he said. And then you go and reread from Hebrew to English, and it says, and you pay this man silver, for his time. And you keep reading, and it says, and that man has every bit to look at the person who hired him in rigor. So not that the if you want to say the person who bought him is looking at him in rigor. No, the person who's owed is looking at him in rigor and has every right to, is what, like hey, that this is wrong, you know this is an equity, this is not fair, and that is right. But he didn't describe it like that, and neither did his Bible point him like in that direction. So yeah, now that does not dismiss, clearly, chapter 24 was written for a reason, because it answers two questions. Obviously, the first, the latter, but the lower part, the base is, yeah, these are real human beings, and this is how some of them really felt. Maybe a lot of them really felt, because remember, they were also having conversations where when God says, and I heard you, you're in your tents mumbling. When he says, I don't know, he didn't say mumbling, he says uttering, like mumbling, oh gosh, it was on the tip of my tongue. But he's like, I can hear you, um, your whispers. They don't use the word whisper, but like uttering or mumblings, in your tents. He's saying, you like, I hear you talking about me. And what is he referencing? This is in the canons. This is in the Apocrypha, that I've taken up. Um, oh yeah, we got to get into that too, but that's not for another day. Um, and well, it adds also, you don't have to go far from where this is all taking place, where Moses is, having to ascend up Sinai, right? But before he goes up, they pull him into the tent. It's like, what are we doing with all these people? Like, they're decimated. Like, what are they doing here? Like, come on now. Come on. I know they're not coming with us to the promised land. And but it's like, that's exactly where they're going, to the promised land with you. In fact, part of your house, the house of Jacob. At the time, they wouldn't have known that they were going to become the house of Jacob, because Moses was still in charge, and Moses was still, in good graces with, like, God hadn't taken him up. So, um, and um, yeah, Moses could not enter because his anger was sparked because he was hot. It was angry, and he couldn't. And so he's like, "No, I'm gonna take you up and play Jacob." That was part of the plan anyway, which means they didn't go in there in anger. They didn't go in there with an angry prophet leading them like Moses and blasting everything, blasting everybody. They just went in there and they set up a sense of community and government, and that's the way that it's described. That's it. And when they went, and the archaeologists, that's the word, went and found 5 bodies that traced from that area. That's also what they found. Of course, they excavated and they realized, oh, by the way, it was not a little community. It was not a town. It wasn't like a dispersed place, rural. No, it was a city. They like this was a thriving city that have signs of no war. That literally the inhabitants here were living like they were cohabitating here. Absolutely 100% cohabitating. Like there were hunters, there were farmers, and the bodies that they found were farmers, and they were Palestinian, and that's where they found the DNA that ties them to the land of Canaan. And if that's be said true, they do have a stake in according to the Bible, they have a stake there. Of course, they do need, like you say, division. They need the two-state solution. 100%, I agree with uh, Vice President Kamala Harris or President Joe Biden. I believe I agree with them. I agree with everybody who says two states as being the solution. I agree with that 1,000%. But we mustn't forget, as do Israel today, or Jews today also have a stake. Israel is Israel. And Israel in the Bible is described as free. Last piece before I start. And in Hagar's time, Israel was considered free. Remember, Hagar is Egyptian. And then, of course, so she being Egyptian or Arab, the descendant, the mother, actually, she's called the mother of all. That's her title, mother of all. And one second. Welcome. It's a pleasure, Psychic Donald. A pleasure. Okay. So that's the thing. People, you cannot fall in love with the blue fairy. You're supposed to fall in love with, like, you're supposed to fall in love with Cinderella, Prince Charming. You're not supposed to fall in love with, you're not supposed to have a thing for, like, like the genie of the lamp. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. So, okay, so where was I? Okay, so Hagar in the book of Matthew, I believe, she is Israel described as free. Yes, she's a woman that is, as I said, written of her comes from this world of division, but she's a mother nonetheless, and the though and the descendants that come from her, they say the book says, does not come from a woman of a maid's woman, meaning a servant woman. It's like she is herself from out of Egypt, right? A princess, right? Who has a prince, who has princes, and then who has royalty to go establish in as God's promise. You know, he gives them the promise. They have the promise. That's their covenant, and she is in a place where she's free and she's just taking care of her husband and her children. And kind of like the Bible, Matthew makes a joke that I was listening to a young woman speak, and she was trying to modernize the language and says, isn't it too bad, like what about women who can't have children or women who don't have children, and not knowing, not I'm not going to say anymore, but not knowing that the Bible actually talks about that. It said, "Be happy." Like, why are you bagging and hating on Hagar? Like, look, she's been slaving and taking care of babies. Like, why are you worried about her? Like, she's in a free Israel. Like, in spite of her situation, that, like, be happy that you don't have to do those things. Like, be happy. Yes, she's blessed, but be happy that you don't have to, you don't have to take care of all these children, and that you don't have to. Yeah, it says that, like, and that plainly and that blunt, and that you don't have to take care of a husband. You don't have to take care of Abraham. That's what she said. That's what the Bible said. So it says that. That's in Matthew. So, but I didn't interrupt it. I'm like, okay, you know, you don't have to go in and be a know-it-all. You don't have to go, oh, I read it. That's wrong. This is what the Bible said. I don't feel like I need to do that, but I just food for thought. So okay. Oh, so why would is that, why, what does Kamala Harris have anything? Okay, well, as you know, United States, George Washington made a covenant with Israel, and United States made that covenant. The first president of the United States, at like, when, as United States is becoming America, becoming united, and said, yeah, you're going to be protected. Bless them, stock of Abraham, and basically said, we're going to look after you. You're going to thrive, and you should. Okay, so they obviously, their fight was not slavery. Their fight was the religious persecution, the very same religious persecutions that of course, they're Europe as well, because we're talking about Spain and Portuguese, but um, also, like, George Washington's descent, European background, they coming out of a tyrannical force, trying to burden. Of course, theirs were more Arabic, so they were trying. They were Arabics. So this was a time where Portuguese and Spain are pushing for the Arab, and they're trying to push the Christian ideology out, and then along with it, because of correlation of the Jewish elements there, out. And then so it was like they gave them ultimatum. They said, we're standing true with this is our identity. We'll leave. Thank you. So they were given that exit. They exodus into America. And then uh, U.S. brought them in. It's like, we understand. Let's make covenant. And that's where you get your first Thanksgiving. October 3rd, I forget October 3rd. It's in my notes too, but this is faster. October 3rd. Um, what's his name? Oh, yeah. George Washington Thanksgiving Proclamation. October 3rd, 1789. And then he makes, I think it's the 26th, either the 26th or 27th. It was on a Thursday. And then, okay, as you know, after that, uh, President Lincoln made it official. Yeah, the 26th of November. hmm That's when it happened. And he delivered a service. And basically, what this was about was, he says, Christian and Jewish people are uniting and giving thanks and celebrating their religious freedoms together. And they're embracing, and no tolerance for intolerance of the sort. And so, thus, the journey begins. Okay. And that was in the first president. Okay, there you go. So, that's where. Okay, so she has work. So she has to do. So there's going to be some work at play. Kamala Harris with that space. She's got to do some work in that space. Working with the Palestinian people. I mean, and yeah, it should be very interesting to see how it plays out. I know she's got some great ideas. She's on the right track. She's already stated that. Yes, we understand that now there is a bad group, like what do you call it? Yeah, the bad group. Yeah, they're not even in my tongue because I said I wasn't. We're not even praying for them, so there are no blessings there. And of course, you've got nations, countries that are Arabic, who, unlike other nations that who are Arabic, supporting that group, and they put, if they care so much, they're putting Palestinian people at stake. For example, I just read, which we knew that Iran was going to do it. They blocked the United Nations, that's under the democracy. They actually started, they established the United Nations and also a few other ones too. I mean, they tried a few times to create uh, sort of these spheres where um, world peace can be like all nations can come in and resolve issues at a table. Mm-hmm. So, and then there's a groups that have a problem with that. Uh, Iran, Russia, North Korea, and a few others. So, so there's that. And so the ones who are working against their personal interests, we we have to work for their best interest and for the interests of, let's say, Palestinian people. But when we say that, we say that broadly. We say for their, not only for their best interest and their descendants' best interest, but for the interests of those who look like them and who are a part of us all, part of our community, who are on our team. Best interests. Okay. And just our consciousness, our conscience, best interests. Okay, so there you go. Let's see. So I want to start with Exodus 30, and I'm going to read up to 10 because then I want to go to, Leviticus, and then go straight to Leviticus 23, and then that answers all of it because Vice President Kamala Harris is receiving the assent offering. Okay, so it says, and you make altar fuming of incense, woods of acacias. You shall make. It says, him cubit. You shall make a cubit length, the cubit width, cubit being squared. So squared. You shall 2 cubits. 2 cubits rise. Okay, from the, okay, so you got that's where they have so this is where the burnt offering, this describes where the burnt offering is going to be. So there would be the plate in a like, but it'd be a square, and then 2 cubits the horn, and that's where the burnt offering goes. And it says you overlaid with gold the top of him, the side walls and roundabout and the horns. Okay, so trimmings of gold. Uh, for you a flank with gold round, like round about, and two rings of gold. You shall make as well. So there were 2 rings of the gold, two angel walls of him. Yep, the cherubims on either side of the housing, the poles, to carry. So 2 poles as well. Yep, those 2 poles made of axios, if I'm pronounced correctly, and the overlay them also with gold, and the coffer in itself of the testimony, 2 faces of the preparatory shelter, which means it faced the veil, where God lived. basically. So where Aaron would actually have to go inside and pray. Like once he does a sacrifice, then he has to go in there, and then you already know what that scenario is. It says a testimony says, "I shall keep appointment to you, their word," meaning that's where we will talk. That's where we will have our appointments. And it says, "And he causes to fume," the meaning he means Aaron. "The incense of the spices are going up." He make it's all good in the lamps. Everything's going well. You know, got the lamps. Um, cause everything to rise up. It says, "And in the light, Aaron, the lamps between the evening, he shall cause all of the fumes, incense, continually to the faces of Yahweh." For generations, for the praying for the generations. It says, it says, "You shall set up the incense, alien, and a scent offering." There it goes, the ascent offering. "And present offering and libation, not you shall libate on him." So there you go. So, and he makes this shelter, Aaron, the horns and all that, and it says the year from the blood of the sin offering. So it comes from the sin offering. So that is we don't need Aaron anymore. We don't need a priest to do this anymore. But remember, the blessings in the ascent offering is transmitted through the Spirit. And for 1 year, make preparatory shelter over him, for the generations of the people, the holiness of holiness, he to Yahweh, and he is speaking Yahweh to Moses. Okay, there you go. So we can stop there. All right. So that's the gig. Okay. So now I'm gonna go to Leviticus 9. Um. So it's like 9 through. Let me see if I can. If there's anywhere I can maybe be able to skip. Present offering. Pierce. Okay, let me see how much far I can. Uh, 20. Oh, 22. It says, um, hands. Okay, fast pace, alter word. So basically, this kind of describes how it was done. I won't read that part. Okay, so 21 says, "The chests and legs of the right, and he waved Aaron the wave offering, the faces of Yahweh, in which he is instructed Moses. Aaron is doing it, and he's lifting up. So Aaron, the hands of him to the people. He's blessing them. They're receiving the ascent offering, and he is descending, meaning Moses, from he says, from to make of the sin offering and the ascent offering and the peace offerings. And he is entering Moses and Aaron to the tent of the appointment. So they both go okay, and they are coming forth and they are blessing the people, and he is appearing the glory of Yahweh to all of the people. So and she is coming forth fire in the face of Yahweh, and she is devouring on the altar, and the ascent offering and the fat pieces. So the ascent offering is what's going up. So she is, as they said, present yourself as a sacrifice. So she, meaning Vice President Kamala Harris, is being ascended, being lifted up as the sacrifice, and and they are being jubilant, and they are falling in the faces, so they're praising. So there you go. So that is Leviticus 9, and then we want to. Okay, so the ascent offering, Leviticus 23. So we need to go to there, and so then it's easier from here. Okay, so it says, so the Sabbath comes again, and The priest. Okay, how far up do we got to go? Okay. The present offering of him. Okay, everything intends. Hold on, let me find Aaron. Okay, I'll try to find Aaron's part. I like Moses. No, when I talk about Moses, I'm just speaking to him as a real person. I'm not speaking to him as, you know what I mean? So it's not that I don't like him. It's just that some things happened. Okay, the sacrifice. Where's Aaron? Particularly, this is about Aaron's work. So that's why I'm acknowledging Aaron. Um, harvest of land of you. It says, reap of you the harvest land of you. Okay. Look towards the harvest. Okay. Yes. The sojourners shall leave them, and I, Yahweh, of you. And he is speaking. Okay. Speak, Israel. Okay. I don't want to talk about that right now. Yeah, because that could get murky. Let me try to find Aaron. Does this anything having to do with Aaron? Aaron. He's in here somewhere. If he's in, I know he's not in 24. At least I don't think. It talks about Moses in 24. I know what to do. Hold on. Libations aside. Hmm. I know what to do. If he's in there, hmm. Because, um, Aaron, 22, 23. Yeah, it talks about not eating. Well, yeah. We know that part. It says, but I'm looking for Aaron. Oh, here it is. 22. Which one is it though? Oh, that's 22. No. We know 2022. Okay, 2023. Okay, it just talks about the ascent offering, and I don't need to talk about that. So, okay. But 2023 is about the ascent offering. But it's like it's kind of explaining like why it's done. It goes like into like a little bit of um, who's it for, and those who are like sojourning or not apart necessarily, or people who are not practicing, or people who are like they have their own way of things, opposite of yourself. So it's kind of like saying, keep focus on the goal, keep the eye on the prize. And it says, I'll see if I can pick out. It says, reap. Okay, like all the harvest, like whatever is harvested. Um, oh, here it is. Here's something. The 23:12. It says, and you make in the day. Uh, okay, so you weigh the sheaf, the lamb, a flawless son of. It says year of him to a scent offering to Yahweh to lift. That's the lift up. Of course, it is the lamb and and present offering of this offering 10 measures. It talks about. Okay, hold on. It says approach. Okay, then you approach Elohim of you, the statuette of Eon, for generations of you, and all the dwellings of you, and the number of you, and the morrow. It says the Sabbath. From that day, you bring you on the seventh day this offering. Remember, it got to be flawless until the the morrow, the Sabbath, or the seventh, the sixth day to talk about. And it says, this shall number 50 day, and you bring near present, bring the offering, a new one to Yahweh from dwellings of you, uh, shall bring bread and a wave offering, all of that. You do it all over again. Let's see what else. It says the bread of the first fruits. It says ways of the priests. Okay, the lambs proclaim the meeting of holiness. For you, it says, for you, any of work of service, not you, shall do, statuette of Eon, in all of dwellings of you for generations of you. And he's talking about not working on this on the sixth day, gleaning the harvest, sojourning. Okay, and so okay, sojourner says, harvest you, not you shall glean. Okay, for the humble one, be humble, and the sojourner shall leave them. Yeah, of you shall leave you, and he is speaking. Okay, so the month. Um, Cessation. Okay, it's work of service. It says, any of work of service, not you, shall do. You bring near the fire offering. Yeah, so this is more like celebration. Celebration shall do. The souls. She is being humbled in very of the day in this. Okay. I mean, that's what Zion means, by the way. Zion, God says, and I believe in the book of Isaiah, that he says this Babylon is not the city of God, but the city of Zion. He's a God, or God is the founder, is what what this book says, the founder of the city of Zion, the city for the humble. Okay, so not the God of Babylon. I mean, he's not trying to be the God of Babylon, I should say. And there's a lot about Isaiah. That Isaiah scripture is so misinterpreted. It's nothing what you think. But one thing is for certain, that Bible is clear. They said, don't ever celebrate a war. And I'm gonna leave that at eclipses. I'm not even gonna talk about it right now because it could be touchy. Okay, celebrate, celebrate. I think that's it. Okay, so yeah, so that's the ascent offering pieces. And so why did they need that? But what ascent offering for what? Well, so and it says here, and the ascent offering is to the lifting up, presenting one up. And it says, and to Moses, and specifically up to the face of Yahweh. Okay. So, and to Moses, he says, ascend you. That's the nature of the ascent offering. It says, to Yahweh, you and Aaron and Nadab and Abihu and 70 from old ones of Israel, and you bow down yourselves, prostrate yourselves from afar. And he says he comes close, Moses. Says to alone of him to Yahweh, and they, not they, shall come close. So God stops everyone else, tells them to prostrate themselves, calls Moses forward. He says, people, not they, shall ascend with you, Moses. So Moses is ascending. So whenever this ascent offering was being raised, the person who is in ascent in this passage is Moses. He is the sacrifice. He's the one. So it was the Levite priests were considered holy enough to enter the holiest of holies. Anyone else who entered they would fall over and they wouldn't wake up. And so they had to put bells on them. So if a priest fell over, they would hear him, and then they had the rope on his ankle, and they would pull him out. And Aaron was the one that was excellent, who could, in fact, God allowed him to eat in there. God allowed him, that was he and his family to eat in there. He's like just chilling, So Aaron was excellent at doing these sacrifices for Yahweh. But Moses could go in there too. Moses was something to be recommended. But Moses was busy. Moses had to do other things. He had to like organize and prepare things, and so Aaron stepped up. And but the ascent was, yeah, they made all of the sacrifices, but then the body, God or Yahweh accepts Moses, but he takes Moses' body. And his anger is what they call it, righteous anger would not allow him into the promised land. We also see that when the Bible states why angels cannot carry the burden of the sacrifice in the flesh for mankind and universal consciousness, because they're righteous. Their righteousness would not allow it, would not permit it. So they had to. So that's where they come from, where Jesus Christ, right, would have had to, would have had, Yeshua would have had to become sin in itself, incarnate, like in the flesh, like that, because of the flesh, maybe that he could carry such a burden. Though perfect and a deity that he is, the flesh allowed him to do it. Of course, his flesh gets consecrated and he goes up and all that, because he's the only one worthy that could carry that, who could complete that trial. An angel couldn't, Moses couldn't, just as Moses couldn't enter into the promised land and fulfill the promise, Aaron had to do it. Relating to the people, all of the words. So Moses was coming and he was relating to all the words that was dispensed through God and all of the judgments. And he was responding, all of the people, the voice of one, and they are saying all of the words which he spoke, Yahweh, yeah, we'll do it, we'll do it. He is writing Moses all of words of Yahweh, and he is rising early in the morning. It says, and he is writing, Moses is writing, nice, all of the words of Yahweh. So he learned. Oh, can a prophet learn? Okay. So he writes down the words of Yahweh, and he is rising early in the morning, and he is building altar before the mountain, and exactly the way that it talked about before. And he is sending lads of sons, the firstborns. Okay. Okay, hold on. He's sending lads of Israel, and they are bringing up ascent offerings, and they are sacrificing sacrifices of peace offerings to Yahweh. Okay, it says, and he is taking Moses, okay, half of the blood, and he is placing it in the goblets, and half of the and he sprinkled it on, he put it on the altar, basically. Um, and he is taking scroll of the covenant, and he is reading in ears of the people, and they are saying all. So Moses was, okay, so the ascent offering is brought for Moses. Moses is the one who is an ascent in that time. Kamala Harris is connected to the ascent offering. He takes out the scroll, the words and what was written for him to say over as he say, to bless over the people. And so that's what he's doing. And he spoke the words, and he spoke, Yahweh, he shall do, and we shall listen. And he is taking Moses. Oh, hold on. The covenant. Okay, so he says hold on. And he is taking Moses, the blood, and he is sprinkling it on the people. And he is saying, blood, behold, blood of the covenant, which he cuts Yahweh with you on all of the matters. So the goblet, the blood of the bulls, he had the bull represents the beast, like the beasts. They represent the beasts. And also the bull represents Taurus, which the bull represents Taurus, It also represents humanity, represents man. The path number is 6. Venus number is the number 5, and also represents the land, the world, and yeah, it does represent the the path that where karma teaches, or if you want to say sin, teaches us experiences. So he takes the blood there and he sprinkle it, and Jesus Christ replaced that blood, so where it's no longer necessary to use the blood of the bull to sprinkle it on people. Instead, the Christ. Welcome. It's a pleasure. I'm Psychic Donald. It's a pleasure answering your questions. Are you here for a psychic reading? Wonderful. I'm so happy that you're ready for a conversation. And I always like to ask. I'm very, careful of your time. So, are we working with questions in something that's important to you that may be on your mind? Love and finances. Okay, well, let's take a look. We're going to start with, I naturally grab the finances, and because then we can cover the love, but we're going to answer all of your questions in this reading while we have each other. So what I can see is this. They're letting you know, this is more what's going on at the ground level on the outside. So externally, they let you know, they said to be a good sport, go with it. Why go against the grain? Why push it or why push back? Because maybe this is going in the right way. It's not the idea of settling. They're not saying you should just settle. No, they're just saying be a good sport about it, because unexpectedly there's going to be a new opportunity that arrives from out of the situation. So like, you know how sometimes things look bleak, or like there's not a ladder way forward. Then all of a sudden, unexpectedly, something comes up. So that's exactly what's going to happen. So they said, you know, um, remember, you're not settling. Just be a good sport. It may feel like it, but unexpectedly, and when they say new opportunity, they are referencing there's money tied to this. So I believe it's some sort of promotion or an expansion of finances, or a new stream of income that's coming in, or a new way to create income, but particularly in the space you're in. So like, right, they said, it's going to be in this very specific space, and they said in the workplace where this is happening. They also said that you have more you have more influence than you might realize. They said, and being a good sport translates as, it's okay to be flexible in this area. I'm like, why should I? Because look, what are they doing? Like, how we get. And they said, well, sometimes that's necessary. When this, I mean, if that's what they're going to do, we definitely need to close ourselves off and protect our energy. But this is saying no. Instead, you can relax with them, because yes, an opportunity is going to come right around the corner, and allow the universe, to do what universe does, give you what is owed to you. That's what's going to happen. So they said, don't lose out on the opportunities, because maybe it doesn't come in the form that we thought, or maybe we wanted it to, or hoped that it would, or early it was like. But they said the blessings are in disguise. Stay mindful of all, and see all the potential that's there, because this place, what they, in spite of what they're saying at the moment, they've got something, and they're going to deliver. They're going to, because then guess what the next one is. I know we need to move on, but manifesting is the next one. Manifesting. Okay, I'll move on from that. And then, so you said you want to go about the love energy, what's going in the love department. Got you. So what I can see in this round of love, um, I get the sense that sometimes they keep showing me two people. Like, they're showing me like the outline. Oh boy, yeah, they're showing me the outline of two people. I think it's a matter of getting involved. I keep seeing you getting involved. It's like it's meant for you to get involved. You're supposed to be involved with someone. I keep seeing two people. Like when I read for you, I see outline of you and someone else. Yeah, I have to say it outright. Look, you are meant to have relationship connections. That's what's going on here. But I also believe you're supposed to be enjoying this time. You're supposed to be in this romance, but I think it's supposed to be light as well. and it's going to become much more meaningful or deeper in romance. But maybe like the days, weeks progress, as you bring in a new year. But yeah, they're saying that you're right on the cusp of like matching up with someone that you are very going to be very close to. I mean, intimately and consciously close to is what I'm seeing right here. So I like it. It's in threes, and these are like a checkpoint for me. Is like drawing a line through the dots, and they're saying finding that you two have so much going on for yourselves, even while all the madness is carrying on. It's like, yeah, and when this happens, it's going to open your mind up to relationships as well, to the idea of companionship. That's where you want to focus your energy. Okay, so that's what's coming together. Keep the score. Well, keep balance. They said no need to overexert yourself. Remember that. Last piece before you go. Everything in expectations will find you at the intellectual level. So it should make sense to you on a mind level, meaning that the conversations are going to be had with the partnership. That's what I see. A pleasure. Thank you. Have a great day. They're like, just dive on in. Just dive on into the reading, please. Okay. Oh wow. I sometimes I'm like I'm so used to universe being correct. I speak everything as a matter of fact. I'm like, and you're going through this, and you're doing this, and you got this going on. That's how I read. I can't help it. I'm like, it's a matter of fact. It's not. It's going to be greater. It's going to be stronger. Well, it's not stronger, but it's getting there. So let's see. Okay. Oh, let me reshuffle. Let me shuffle these cards so I can use them clean. So when I shuffle, they're nicely shuffled. When I start shuffling, a little bit of OCD, but that's okay. Okay. Um. Yeah. That's her. That's her guy. She's taken into the new year, no doubt. Yeah. They're gonna create life experiences for sure. Okay. I skipped some parts. Okay. Let me clean that energy out. Boom. Okay. So where was I? So the fact that Moses would have had to come with the cup, dip his hands in bull's blood, sprinkle it now on the people, right? He already put it on the altar. He goes, "Ch, ch, 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 ch," and that gives them their covering. Well, that's the part that Christ no longer needs, like Aaron or Moses or Aaron. We don't need them to do that. Jesus Christ did it. I mean, they already explained earlier why an angel couldn't do it, or why. Yeah, there's a reason why. Why just like it mirrors why Moses couldn't go enter into the promised land. You know, and so yeah, Jesus Christ, as you say, his sacrifice made it where his his blood would be a covering for all of the exercise that went into what the Moses, um, his blessing of Israel in his time according to the Bible. And it says, so 24:29. Okay, so from the ascent offering, it says, and he is ascending Moses and Aaron and Nadab and Abu and 70 from the old ones of Israel. Okay, and he is ascending. And they are seeing Elohim of Israel and, under the feet of him, um, handiwork of tiling of the sapphire and as a very of the heavens purity. Okay, to select men of sons of Israel, not he put forth hand on him. They are perceiving. Okay, Elohim, they are eating, and they are drinking. And he is saying, Yahweh to Moses, ascend you. He says, so he calls for them. He calls for Moses again. He says, to me, the mountain, come to the mountain. And he says, you, okay. And he says, I shall give to you, Moses, tablets of the stone, hand the law and instruction. So that's about the Ten Commandments. And so Moses rises. Okay. Okay. So there's that. So I'm going to stop right there. So that's in 2020. That's in 24. Was I reading? Oh, I'm reading Exodus, I think. Let me see. I was reading Exodus. I was supposed to be reading. Okay, I needed to read that. Thank you. So I'll write down that. I can look for Exodus 24. I was guided there, you all. I was guided there. Exodus 24 also talks about the ascent offering. Okay. Now, I was trying to talk about okay, now I'm where I'm supposed to be. It says, and he is speaking Yahweh to Moses. And it says of instructions, the sons of Israel, they shall take to you oil of olive, clear pounded, the luminary. So at night, light up of the lamp continuously from outside of the curtain of testimony in the tent of appointment, the Holy of Holies, shall arrange Aaron. So Aaron is stepping up. So Aaron, from evening until morning, um, uh, two faces of Yahweh, continually statuette of Eon, or for the generations of you, um, lifting up sacrifice to Yahweh. On the lampstand, the pure one, he shall arrange the lamps to faces of Yahweh continually. The flower. Okay, let's see here. Okay, place them in the rays of six. Okay, he's talking about the lamp. Okay, it says continually in the sons of the covenant. So Sheba comes for Aaron and for sons of him, and they eat. And he eats him in the place of holy. He and his family in the holiness. He for him the fire offering of Yahweh, statute of Eon, and he is coming forth the son of a woman. Wow. So Aaron was and his sons, his family were loved. Okay, so then uh, Leviticus 24:10. This is where it speaks to equality and self-determination is actually is described in 24:10. And he is coming forth, son of woman, Israelitess, and he, son of man, Egyptian, in the midst of sons of Israel. And they are striving in the camp, son of the Israelitess and man of, hey, I'm not done with that. Man of the Israelite. So, and he is blaspheming son of the woman, the Israelitess, the name, and he is slighting, and they are bringing him to Moses, the name of mother of him, uh, she, Shelamith, daughter of the stock of Dan. Dan is he messed with the wrong one. Did you know Dan? So this son of Israel, he's the Israelitess who's got an Egyptian husband and her son. Like they're just striving. They're just living life. He starts picking on this Israelitess who is a stock of Dan. Dan is the tribe of the judges. Basically, it's like messing with law enforcement. Like, go ahead, go find out. So she's from the stock of Dan, and they so pass down judgment. This is where the judgment, and it says anyway, and he says, and they are leaving him in the ward to expound in the bidding of like ask Yahweh, what should we do? They're consulting Yahweh. What should we do? They're getting their judgment, like what their judgment is being handed down. And he's speaking Yahweh to Moses. He says, Yahweh says to Moses, this is what I want you to do. This is how I want you to handle the situation. Bring forth you the one slighting to from the outside of to the camp, and they support all of the ones hearing, hands of them on head of him, and they pelt. He was pelted. Him, all of the congregation pelt him. That's what they said. So he says, and he is coming forth, son of the woman, Israelitess, and he, son of man, Egyptian, in midst of sons of Israel, and they are striving in the camp, son of the Israelitess, and man of the Israelite. Mm-hmm. Blaspheming the son of the woman, the Israelitess, mm-hmm, who is the Egyptian son. And they were called to by congregation to pelt him. And as a congregation, use the word congregation, handled that. They put hands on him. That's what pelting is. It says, 24:15 says, and to sons of Israel you shall speak. It says, to say to this, man, say of man that he is slighting, Elohim of him, and he bears sin of him, one blaspheming name of Yahweh, to be put to, ooh, he was executed. Okay, he shall be executed. Pelted. I think that would be stoned. And they pelt in him all of the congregation, as the sojourner, as the native, into the blasphemy of him. Name, he shall be put, well, yeah, executed. 24:17, man that he is smiting any of soul of human to be put to, and he shall be put to. Okay, and he is smiting of soul of beast, and he shall be, he shall repay that person. He shall repay instead of soul of soul. And that the man he is giving blemish and companion of him, he did, so he shall be done to him. So that means, okay, interesting. So companion of him, what he does to companion is done to him. He says companion. That's interesting. Fracture instead of, it says, so fracture instead of fracture, eye instead of eye, tooth instead of tooth, as which he is giving blemish in the human, so he shall be given in him. And one smiting of beast, he's going to repay that. Smiting of, it says, and one smiting of human, he shall be put to execution. Judgment of one, he said, judgment of one, he shall become to you as the sojourner. So the judgment of one, so means that you become treated as a sojourner, as anyone else. Equality and self-determination. So like you do to others, because you're doing this to a human. He says he identifies as a human. He says, hold on. It says, and one smiting of beast he shall repay her, and one smiting of human he shall be like The law is the law. And then he says, judgment of one, he shall become, like, judgment of anyone, like one for all, judgment of one, he shall become to you collectively as the sojourner, as the native. He shall be that, he shall be that I, Yahweh, Elohim of you. Meaning, it don't matter if that's an Egyptian boy, it doesn't matter if that's an Israel, it doesn't matter. Interesting, very interesting. Hmm. Okay. And he is speaking Moses to sons of Israel, and they are bringing forth the one slighting to from the outside the camp, and they are pelting, and they did exactly that with stone. And the sons of Israel, and they did as instructed, Yahweh as stated to Moses, and that is 24. Uh, I didn't need to read 25. I'll just tell you what 25 is about, but I'm not going to read it. 25 is it's not about slavery. Or it's not about having servants, as in, like, when the modern term thinks of slavery, not even what you think of slavery that's fitting for the biblical definition of slavery. No, because there's no, it doesn't use the word, it doesn't use the word slave, obviously, but it doesn't, but also it uses the word servant, like service as a servant. And it says you're not to make servant serve as service. You're supposed to, it says you have to make them as hired one. The term is hired one. So opportunistic economy, egalitarianism is what, yeah, it was egalitarianism is what I would say describes Canaan, the promised land. Okay, so egalitarianism, the doctrine that all people are equal, as what was taught to Moses, and what Moses had to explain to Israel, that the nations that, yeah, they defeated them in war, but these also are people. God wants them. God is going to engraft them. So they stayed together, and they were engrafted into the house of Jacob, and then and deserve equal rights. So when you actually go and read Leviticus 25 from Hebrew into English, um, you read, it's talking to three groups. It's talking to Israel, it's talking to Canaan, and it's talking to the nations that came inside with Israel. So there's three groups, right? That's your Trinity. So here's Canaan, the people of Canaan, they're already there. Israel's coming. God engrafted nations into the house of Jacob. So when they came in, they brought in them the nations under the house of, or in the house of Jacob, a part of, in yeah, under the house of Jacob. So now you've got, so now you had to have a whole passage, Leviticus 25, which then they scripted into some other stuff. They speak as though it's only Israel and um, Canaanites, and they don't. I bet they, 1,000%. I bet they don't acknowledge the Egyptian and the woman of the before chapter. So it's 2024 is what we just read about the Egyptian um, uh, intermarriage and their biracial child, but also who is Egyptian and Israelite, but also the next chapter over is chapter 25, where they all enter in there. No wars mentioned. They just go in there. It's describing, look, this is what you have to behave. These are commandments. You can't do this. You can't do that. And deserving of equal rights, and also opportunists. The economy in Canaan at that time was opportunistic. Yeah, absolutely. It was an opportunistic economy, or egalitarianism economy, because you had, first of all, they were working, and then at the end, okay, so at the Jubilee, as they say, at the 49th year, they get to, they incorporate, and when they incorporate, also their property and their house was not taken from them, their field was not taken from them, Their tools were not taken from them, nor was the tools like, okay, you used our tools, so you got to pay an additional 10% from your salary. That was a no-no. That's called usury. And they had to pay each other. They had to pay, and they had to pay all throughout the 49 years, and then the person who they are buying the service from, the hired one, would then decide how much they want. So they would raise the rate. Not only that, it also said that you could sort of like prorate, like if you wanted to, if the person, Israel or Canaan or person of the nation, wanted to do more work for the person who they could contract themselves out. You could say, well, I don't need you for 7 years this time or 49 more years, but I would want you for like 4 years. So they would say 4 years, this price, here you go, and then that's the new arrangement. So, yeah. So they didn't lose the house. They didn't lose their tools. They did not lose the field that they worked, whatever that they had. And they then also their family was also kept intact. That's the first thing that was said. Their family is kept intact. Of course, the women were protected. So, like, the men would go out, or the men would stay if they wanted to. You want to stay and work, fine. But that. But they refer to not as this is my manservant, or my this is my maid servant, like my woman servant. They're described as companion, brother, and okay, and like partner or the sojourner. So in the New Testament, it would use the word ward, ward, which ward means when you invite somebody, but you take care of them and they feel at home. And I know that people didn't feel like a ward, but in the biblical sense, that's what it terms. And of course, the words that are used is like companion and brother of you, sister of you. So like the women were not like, okay, you stopped working, so you go out and do your thing. Now she was free to go. Like if she gets messy and go hanging out with somebody, it's like, okay, well, go do it. I mean, if she's not like working and things like that, yes, like you're not part of the house, so like go live your life, doll. And she could go do that. So, but most importantly, they would the man and the woman, hired ones, by the way, and they do use that together. Hired ones, as in the the servant and the maid servant, hired ones, and they would leave hand in hand and with their family and all that they have acquired and accumulated. Thus, something to celebrate, right? Jubilee, it would be a time of celebration. So they would have something to celebrate. So, anyways, so that is the ascent offering, and with that, uh, I'm going to stop right there in that conversation. Thank you very much. So that is Kamala Harris Ascent Offering Live. The next one, oh yeah, is about yeah, some other visions. Yeah, we're gonna make some other correlations in the next one. I think I'm also doing that one. I feel high energy. Well, do I have time to tell you? I actually I passed my interview, so I'm now with the biggest company ever. I was with a big company, but I always wanted to work for this particular one, and it's huge, and they've been around for years. Well, I've made it, and I am being extended a contract. Yes, and yes, I didn't even know. I thought that I wasn't getting one, but turns out I am. Okay. Welcome. It's a pleasure. I'm Psychic Donald. Okay. Pleasure. Always, always. A pleasure answering all of your questions. It's always good to speak with you. Yes, I know you got a lot going on. Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Okay. Mm. Mm-hmm. You know, I have been getting vibes, like messages about you and your situation. I think it has a lot to do. I think what you're experiencing is that there's a shift. You just you're hearing a shift when their ears are doing that. You're hearing a shift, and like something is moved. We don't know if it's something that we needed to move or something that you don't preferably would not have moved. But I know, but they did give me insight to what area, and in this case, we did want it to move. That's that guy, the gentleman that you mentioned, who's been kind of like buzzing around on your social medias, like under your posts. Something shifted. So yeah, there's a shift. Like you not focusing on that and proceeding forward with your endeavors and other things that caused that caused that shift. You felt the shift. You shifted out of that vibration. Remember before it had you feeling uncomfortable, the stomach area. It's like we noticed that it was the nerves. But now you've shifted um, out of that vibration or out of that space. Like there's now been a shift, and you felt all of that vibration moving. That's what's going on. You're in this space as you are, and you step, or more or less, you have stepped into this new round of pressures of other kinds of pressures, but these are pressures where you're most needed, where your attention is most needed. hmm an attack, but it's an attack that is subdued. You're subduing this attack by going forward with, like, we call it redirecting our energy. We're not making him our routine. We're following another regimen completely. We're in another program. Mm-hmm. 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 Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like this is where it feels like your calling is coming. Like what? Like you have this wonderful gift, and like your calling, like it's really beginning to stand out. Like you said, to be helpful to people. That's seems to be where it's going. And like you said, the universe is not no. This is no playtime, no joking. So this is very sure that that's the path. That's that's proper. Like this is the right path. I see growth, and I see other kinds of shifts in the future, and I do see altruistic or work that's or as you say, relief. There's going to become there's going this is going to happen. It's going to, as you say, resurface. The stability will find its we will find stability again. It will happen. But this gift right now, is coming through your ability. The first word they say is counselor. The second one they said is your abilities to connect. Um, and you speaking in this subject, it really, like you said, it's going to help people, though. It is, in fact, it is. Because their mind, like you have the ability to revolutionize the mind, right? You've given them ideas as opposed to relying on ideas already written, tried and true, but maybe outdated, or they might be a bit isolating, or like you said, they might be like just like since one on a downward spiral, like it's a decision just to, like I don't want any of it, so don't participate. It's like the information you provide gives people like these are people saying, no, we're going to stay and work this out. We're going to figure out a way to get back into the right path. That's what I see. I see you having that ability to do so because yes, there's another fact that remains. There's going to be a group that have come up in the reading that said, well, somebody has to go into the to this like the official buildings and sit down and type get those letters out there, and get the words out, get the things passed. So there are people who say, no, we got to take care of the place. So and they're going to. There are, and you're going to capture these individuals, and maybe even some that's going to say, you know what, I need to see what how this is going to play out first, but at least be ready if I need to exit. But I'm interested to see how this plays out. Like even these individuals are going to get a hold of your information. There's other reading that's another method said this is spiritual as well, and I know you're gonna be very cautious when we say spiritual. I know you have to write things in a very unique way, but they said, by the way, same placement, different method. The word gift is used, and they said that your gift will help you to see a gift of information, the gift of writing, the gift of this moment that you said is kind of bearing down on all of us. Your gift come through writing and come through your speaking. It does give you the ability to sort, as you would say, to as you would say, speak to what is right. You will have the ability to do that, and people will have that spirit to say, you know what, we have to speak against this too. So yes, and it be crafted in the right way. They said yes, say yes to this. The answer is absolutely yes. And recognition is that you're recognizing you have the ability right now to recognize people's concerns, even their anxiety and fear. You see it. You know exactly what to speak to in a technical way, in a way that all minds can understand. And they said that is your gift. And besides the result, what makes it a gift is the results. The result is that you get people reading what you're saying, and they are in agreement, or and even they, like you say, call to action. Your post kind of acts like a call to action. Mm-hmm. Even without you directly saying, we all need to do this. It's like they know exactly what this implies. They get it. They're like, oh, this is calling me to do something, calling me to go look, do my own little research. Well, I want to know more. Maybe we need to have a conversation about this. Like, like put together a group, and maybe a few of my colleagues can maybe have a little a friendly debate over this, but we need to talk. So your gifting creates that, allows that to play out. Mm-hmm. So like 100% you should want to, I know you're gonna want to do this. I think you should do these things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. But nonetheless, even if okay, so you did okay, so the theme that is synonymous with your readings is that they bring up counselor. You are a counselor. Yes, and counselors don't always bring, okay, we're going to talk about, the great moments, but, like you said, but you have the ability to explain, like what is real. Like, this is what's real. And this is the focus. This is what we need to keep our mind, our eye on. But more to come. More to come. This, like this is not the end. This is not like it's just going to be forever. You know, then people are saying, "Oh gosh, this is like as though it's going to be like this can never change," and that may not be the case. It may be as you might like you're saying. This is what we have in mind. It's still a work in progress. Like the relief, like so the group of people who are going to be rebellious. They're like, oh no, you all don't, and they're gonna say we're gonna use every inch of our knowledge, our education, our resources. We are like we're legit, we're not in trouble. At the time, we we're in a good place and we're outstanding and we can do extraordinary work and help bring some relief and we'll be resilient. That group is going to come out of nowhere like we've got a plan, we know how to fix it, and you're going to be like receiving information and you're going to have the ability to share and see, like express to people, this is going on and it's very real. Yes, it impacts all of us, but we're not like just allowing it to stay that way. It may gonna happen. It's definitely 1% gonna 1,000% is gonna happen. But we're not like, we're not gonna say we're okay with it. We're happy with it. It's gonna be like this. Like we're not gonna just do nothing. We're gonna figure out. We're gonna use our mind and work out a plan. We're gonna devise plans and strategies. And before you know it, we'll be out of this. And you're going to have the ability to navigate this. You're stepping into this and you're basically saying, look, this is what it looks like. This is what the options are. And I'm being absolutely plain spoken about it, but you're being technical about it. But at the same time, you're saying, now let's create. Let's bring out this ingenious information. Like we are genius when we're all together, and it's going to happen. So you're giving that sense of there's a sense of security here, that get people if if it sounds exciting, to be part of something much larger, that is collective. I'm saying collectively, like you said, we all have stakes in this. So we all need our genius pulled together. So in I sense that this is what you're going to like, though the like actually you doing the research, you're reading it, you're having the conversations about this, you're producing this post, yes, as the author, because you know of it, you know what's behind the scene, behind it all. In that sense, yeah, it's gonna sound terrible, but I believe as you begin to imagine, right, the innovative parts, I think you're going to turn this around. The idea that why is this? Oh gosh, I got to share with them some bad news. As in, there is a way of looking forward, looking up. There is a way up to look up. By the way, I'm looking at this and it says there are going to be, we already talked about there's going to be groups, but also there's also growth. They said from the past experiences, growth happens. And it's under the microscope. So it's slow enough that, like, it's like imperfect systems they talk about, and then finding a working system that makes people say, wow, this, if it stays like this would be nice. So it's like, like understanding, like, this way is the wrong way, this way is the right way, and then they go the wrong way, they say, oh, that's pretty bad, that's awful. But then they go the right way, it says, oh, perfect, and you give the little perfect and you give a wink. So it's like, ah, yeah, perfect, yeah, just keep going, yeah, there you go. That's where you're on your way to. You're on your way to helping to guide people in the right direction, and including, that you're engaging these individuals, these groups that are saying, well, maybe we have a solution, even if they don't have, let's say, an organization. Maybe it's a mind who's just inspired and they just want to speak, and they speak to the situation. Maybe it's that, but they did say it comes in the form of the heart. Oh, by the way, big movement, if you want to say universally, I can foresee that this is going to be big conversation for 2025, because 2025 is the year of the human heart. And this definitely is going to be like, we got to look after for people and speak up for people who can't speak up for themselves. I mean, of course, that's what you do. You do exactly that. And you're doing that, like you said, yeah, no, stay on point. You're doing exactly that by actually, Lord, having this talk and raising awareness, because it's good to know thy opposition. So you're knowing who the other side, like, this is what's going on, this is what we're up against, and we know it thoroughly. And any questions, and then it's like, okay, so now that we know what we know, how do we go from here? Because until we know exactly what we're dealing with, solutions tend to just sort of just stay out in the orbit until exactly we know, like, the effects. Like, wow, this is really impacting us hard. So it's like, oh, so this is what it is. All right. Then it's like, well, I wish we could do this. I wonder if we can do this. And then you're like, oh, well, let's see how we can do this in the proper way. And that's where I'm seeing the growth. So the solutions do come. The solutions is in the middle of your reading, right close to it's connected to the gifts. Solutions will come, is what I want to say. And then the correspondence is, say yes to the things that we think we cannot do. People might think, well, we cannot change. We're too far gone, or it won't change in my lifetime. But it says, say yes to the things we cannot do. And there is growth. And in fact, 2025, I believe and I can foresee that things are going to be remedied in 2025. This is not going to be the way forever. Like, there's going to be ways in which, like, you would say, people stepping up, people who can step up, I mean, who have the ability, who have a power and authority to step up, that means they're going to step up. I'm like, yes, they actually are. And they're going to do some strange things. You're going to have people who, they could go off and be anywhere in the world they want to be, even in the midst of ruckus, and be given the best places. and out of the way of all that's going on, and who will decide, you know what, it's just the right thing to do, and it's the right time to do it. So this is not something where it gets, it's like, look, just deal. It's not. This is not that year where people are just told, oh yeah, here it is, and you have no choice, so just deal. Toughen up, be an adult. So no, that's not how this is going to play out this time. Hmm. It's not going to play out like that. Hmm. 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 Right. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Hmm. Understood. Mm-mm. This is definitely um okay, so this is the situation that would have worked out if it was in 2024 age of Aquarius. We are undergoing a shift that is going to be remedied. Because you know why? Okay, so we brought in age from, okay, so age of Capricorn is the age of our experience and what we've learned and things like that, what we've done. And then coming over into the new age is, remember, is our awareness, which now we are aware, we're self-aware. And this higher awareness is letting us know we should do this way. And doing this way is not always the right way. Maybe there's a space for it, a time for it, but not all across the way. And so now you're going to have the ability to come up with these ideas that you may even have, just randomly, just talk. Oh, that's a great idea. You should go out. You should run for something, and then never happens. Or pass it along to somebody. That never happened. But now you have all the means to actually follow up this time, and people are going to have it in them naturally because of this the new space we're in, to actually seek that, to seek to improve, to make things better in this space particularly. So it is a yes. It is definitely, there's more that you're going to hear about, like you said, but that means more that you're going to hear about from whom. I would say people like who are like more for this, uh, um, you know, for the situation to happen. Like, hey, let it happen. Like, if we need it, this is our idea, and it's fine. It's gonna work. Don't work. Look, we'll show you that group, or the person who passed this, this particular text. That you're gonna hear more from them. That's natural. Okay, that's very natural for because if you respond, then they're gonna have to respond. If you especially if you respond loud enough, so they're gonna want to counter it. But what I can tell is that it it will, your side, this space, you're called to it, because this, you know um the alignment is for wanting to do something to revolutionize. So like, you're going to want to say something. It's going to be, and you got the desire to say, and the energy and the resources, and the timing is impeccable, and the people and the ears, the eyes to say it, and people to hear it. So you're going to say something. Somebody or a group is going to say it, and then you can say, "Hey, that was mine. I'm thinking that," and then you're going to say it even louder. So it's gonna come out or happen anyway. And yes, it's going to be impactful enough on your side that it's going to have an effect on their side, and they're going to have to respond, and also and I get the sense, moreover, because this age of Aquarius allows us to remedy things. That's where we get the Christ consciousness bit from, metaphysically. It allows us, because now that we're self-aware, then we got that Christ conscious bit going on. It's like things that are we consider unconscionable, like, oh, that's not consciousness. That's not very. that's not very community oriented. Like, let's take a look at this. It's affecting me too. Oh gosh, no way. No, we need to team up. So that kind of thinking, like working the camaraderie of it all, even in this time age, right? So that means work, real work, lasting work can be done because we're doing this to brighten the world, make create these healing centers. All the way. By the way, healing centers are on their way. Healing centers and things of that nature. People, to have, like people who absolutely had no chances now getting chances, things like that is happening. And like you're saying, the setback with the way that they're like these you would say things from ways that worked in age of Capricorn, this past age. It worked. It was hard, and it was meant to put us through experiences so that we grow as humanity. And now some are like, I'm gonna try the old play from the old playbook because that's what we're and they it's kind of right to do so on a when we think at the primal level because they gained from that. So it's like natural for them to do, like, of course I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna try this if it works this time. But the thing is, they don't realize that vibrationally it's not gonna hold up. It won't last for long. It'll be they're in a place where back when they would not been able to be challenged. This time they can be challenged, and more so directly challenged, like in terms of balance, like maybe it's their weight, they're heavier on their side and we're lighter. No, this time the weight is like, even like the voice is, when you say things, it's just as impactful and influential as their own, is what I want to say. That's what I'm trying to say. And you're going to have the ability to do so much with this conversation upcoming, with your blog. It will make sense to the reader and also to the listener. For those who are going to be listening to the talk, it will make sense for them. And in fact, the guides said earlier, I don't know if you're intending to still, do this, but they said that hopefully these individuals will have the more interaction with you, like more direct interaction with you some way, where they can ask you very specific, like ask you questions, I should say, as the authority in this area. So that they said that the spirits, I mean, that you would absolutely do excellent in that space if you decide to go with it. You mentioned like a webinar of sorts at one time. They said that, oh yes, you will excel in that. Mm-hmm. 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 That That's the tone of it. That is the feel of it over here psychically. I'm like, they're trying to pull you in because you like, I don't want to do things with you, or well, then we'll write it this way. Trying to lean in and shift weight in so that you slip over into their conversation. That's what that's about. Full on manipulation. Like, take control. Let me take control of you. Let me take control of the situation or the conversation. That's what she's up to when she sent that email. She's kind of shifting her weight. And like you said, it will not be productive because you're gonna really feel like all eyes are on you and that they're really making this more about you than about the conversation. And you might get the feeling like if we're supposed to be talking about a particular subject, then why are you all like bringing me in it? Like every other phrase or sentence has something to do with me. Well, let me know when you all are talking about a actual subject. I've got some things I got to take care of. I mean, that's going to be your feeling. You're going to be like, that's it. I'm picking myself up from this. That I'm so I've got to excuse myself. I've got so much lined out, and it's just now coming to me. You'll be trying to get out of that if you attend that. I get the sense that it's not going to be favorable for you to go. Like you said, it's not constructive. There's so many important like other things that you can be doing. Like you said, they might know some stuff, but you know that the stuff that they know is not even what you're doing. That's not how you do it. And what you do it is giving you results. You're going to go speak to 150 in front of 150 people. Wow. You're going to go talk to 150 people and it's going to be recorded. Amazing. So like you said before in other readings, you do things differently and it works for you and it's getting you results. Mm-hmm. 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 Right. I get the sense that it will be positive for you. I believe it will be a positive thing for you to connect with him with. I think it will flow quite nicely. Like you said, like tips and tricks and things like that. I think also accompanied because you two are one. I think it's going to be all of you and all of you both as one. Like it'll be all you, but Kevin, your husband, is you. You two are twin flame, and it's going to like be cohesive. I like the idea you connecting with your twin flame versus going like instead of like giving some room to the Marika and particularly this group. Instead, like you're turning inwardly to your twin flame and becoming enriched. I get the sense you'll find a way out of it, and then connect with your husband Kevin and come up with some really smart ideas, and then have that talk and woo everybody. I think everybody's gonna be like wowing and be impressed, and you're gonna get a lot of work done and a lot of information out there, and then the journey is gonna start, the real journey. Like okay, now that we in this space, now we get out of it through our genius, through our minds. That's how it's going to play out. You've got, like you said, you've got so many. There's so many other things going on. Then you go spending time with that. You've got something important to focus on, and they're not going to talk about this. And yeah, I know you don't want to talk. You don't need to talk about it with them, but they're not going to talk about that. They're trying to see what you are about. They're trying to pull you, and this is really about. We need to be a circle, and we need you to be included. That's what this is about. They're trying to, as you say, manipulate you, yes, through manipulation, but ultimately their end goal or end game is to get you to join in their circle. hmm Right. That's the feeling is that though they're doing the actions, it's not sincere. It's not sincere. And the reason why they're there saying, "Oh, yes, come, come, come," is because now you have turned them away so much. Now they're infatuated with you. Now they're like, "What is up with you? Like, what's so special? Like, what do you got going? Like, what is working out so much for you that, like they want to know. Like, you don't want to like interact with us. You don't like you are kind of you don't let us in. You don't come stand hang out with us or nothing. You don't ask us for assistance and things. Like, what's going on? That's what this is all about. This is about, like they say, figuring you out. That's what that meeting's about. You're gonna find that they go around the table. It's like going sitting down at a table where everybody knows each other and they're speaking in through the eyes, and then everybody's looking at you, and then you can kind of feel that what they're gonna say next. I know they're gonna ask me this question, and oh, they're starting. You can feel then the group is moving away from you. That feeling when they move, you're gonna feel them move, and you're gonna feel like I'm not included. I'm not part of this. This has nothing to do with me. They just wanted to figure me out. That's all they brought. They brought me out here. It's that vibe. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I get the sense that let's see. Uh, I get the sense that she says that she's tried like something. I tried calling you. It feels like she has like respected pretty much like it's like more Marika pushing for this in this scenario. But I believe collectively they're like, well, I've already tried, so it can't be me. Kind of that's Aparna. Um, I just get the sense that it's like respect. I think she's like, look, it's clearly we're not close, and I get it. All right, like I'll just keep on with work, but I'm always here. That kind of thing. Ultimately, what she's thinking is maybe that the goal was to bring about some kind of a project in which everybody can be a part of. That was under the guise that we all going to meet, we're all going to get to know each other better, we're all going to be in arms to arms, and when we, get together and need to pull together, we're going to support one each other. We're going to do project together, and you're going to be left with, well, when does this happen? What are we working on today? Or we thought we would take this time to go around the table and introduce ourselves, things like that. But everybody knows each other already, so it's that yeah, that's her vibration, and she seems more drawn to this whoever is doing mainly the speaking. Whoever's doing mainly the speaking, that's who she's engaging more. So she's more invested into who's already there, who she already knows. That's the vibration that I get. And she seems to me that she's also going along with this. Kind of like, I did not call for this assembling, but I'm here. I made it. I mean, I show up, pretty much. Okay, then she says, okay, she looks to the speaker and she goes, okay, so what are we here for? Okay, so what do you want to talk about next? She'll have her questions, she'll engage, she'll be professional and all that, and things like that. But you can tell this was not her idea. If you were to say, well, whose idea was to invite me to this? Because to be honest, we don't really. I know it'd be a little bit blunt, but we don't really, interact that way. I mean, I'm here, we connect professionally, but like this is a little much. This is more like social, and like trying to make this a regular thing. It's like we're trying to like create a circle or inner circle of some sorts. But in actuality, like you said, it's well, we doing this because we can work on projects together and bounce ideas off of, and it's good to have some that inner support, and well, we can support each other. We know each other, we know of each other, we have this, we understand each other's professions. So, how about it? Why not it be us? So that seems to be where they're going with this, but it just doesn't seem to be for the right reason. That's supposed to be the reason, but it doesn't seem to be right. Like you might find that there's other things that you would rather be doing, like like you have projects you've taken up on your own, and and then trying to take then now that you're focused, now they're taking your attention. Like okay, focus, put some of that focus over here. And then I just get the sense you're going to go there and it's going to be like the conversation is going to be underwhelming. Like this is like, other conversations that I'm having, I want to actually have those conversations, but I can't have them with you all. But thus you go and you have it with 150 people and you're going to be like, why did I go to that meeting? Like what they're talking about doing, I'm already doing it. Mm. And then it was like, well, what little can they do? It's like it's getting started to do the things. Like, I think it has something to do with projects, projects that will, like working with clients or gaining more clients, getting leads and things like that. Um, I think it's more representing the industry in some way. Um, I feel like that's where they're going with this, and but I just get the sense that it doesn't, for you, it feels like, well, I could just do this and I would get twice as many the people and they'd be all there and they'd be there just for you. Mm-hmm. 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 Right. I get the sense that I believe that you should, because I think that you have the protection path because you get to come there on your own. You like you. I mean, I apologize. Let me rephrase that. You're coming, like you having already provided the topic. You're able to present information in your topic to your own demographic, to your own set of listeners, and then approach them like, look, this was an excellent speak and everyone was excited for it. I can do the same for you all. For I'm approaching you all. We can all go together, but I'm coming there with my unique conversation, as opposed to, hey, you got something? It's like like everyone can being a bit of a contributor. Like you're coming there with a solid speech. I'm coming there. I'm coming here with a solid talk. I can talk on this for forever. So when I talk, I'm like, I want to go up there. I don't want to be disturbed. Just give me my own little mic. Give me my own microphone. I'm gonna have my own podium, and I'm gonna be like, just relax. I've got this for the next however many minutes, you know. And that's what I mean. So that's where it's coming from. Absolutely. So the answer is yes. You'll be meaning that's why I said you'll be protected because you're coming there with 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 something that you're bringing yourself, and it's not something like side blinded or they're taking over your conversation or they this you all are speaking on, even if you're being a contributor like a panel, you're speaking from yourself because you have your we can say you have your own platform. So you have your, it's not like you have your own platform, and they're working together to establish a platform because that's what they want to do. They think that, well, we want you to join us so as we establish a platform for ourselves and do these talks. You're like, I already have a platform, but I can lend you my platform. I don't take advantage of me now, but I can lend you my platform. I can come and do a talk for you there with you all, you know, So that's what I mean. But hence you protect it. So you're living with your energy. You don't feel like before you showed up and you got your brain picked and then it was like, oh my gosh, they just used me to get all this information from me and it's worth millions of wow, millions of pounds. Wow. And not even be asked, hey, would you please like be part like help, we can, compensate or give you notoriety. They didn't offer any of that. So that without so doing that without getting that feeling like I was totally taken advantage of. Like this time you're coming there and you're like, I'm coming there of value and I'm selling, but I'm not giving my power away. And I'm not being used. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm. Hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Right. Right. And caution, um, is a very much like a vibration that allows for you to, like you say, maybe you approaching things with fresh eyes. There's fresh eyes on the case, but also you, maybe having prepared every which way, then approaching with fresh eyes. Always good to do that, right? Always good. And I do get this wrong sense that first of all, in my readings, you are technical, and that means you're like Mercury being very acute. I would say you're extremely meticulous, and you've been so, and that's what's gotten you the success where you are now. So you're already practicing being meticulous. But this is also what I see in terms of the being like in the cautious space, is that you will have the ability to draw these fresh eyes, as we say. Because remember, the things you write or the things that when you begin to speak, we know that your gift operates when you're in the courtroom too. It operates in the courtroom and any way, shape, and form in which you're communicating, which means when you have your talk in front of 150 people, your gift is activated. When you write the blog about it later, your gift, or before, your gift is involved in that. When you go into the courtroom, that's where your gift was found. So in the courtroom. So yes, you're naturally going to attract always fresh eyes. Always, because that's what it does. It attracts these eyes that normally would not even think about the subject or they're brilliant, yes. And you would think we had this discussion a few times. We said there's things that you know that you bring to new perspectives that other people, though they know, they hadn't it's not on their present mind and consciously. And so when you offer new information or new insight to meticulously to that information because you're writing it technically. So I would say that that's how I would interpret that's how I've interpreted for in that sense when dealing with fresh eyes, because first of all, we're not avoiding fresh eyes. We're not even running from them. We're not running from them. We're not avoiding them. In fact, we're inviting them. I think that's the same thing. We're inviting fresh eyes. We're like, no, we want fresh eyes because these fresh eyes are like yourself, experts, authorities, and they've been in this business. They've been in this in a long way. And even if it's just from other, uh, what do you call it, careers or pathways, professions, they have some connection to your posts, like so they're minds of influence. They have the ability, people who can take charge of spaces in their lives and make a difference. Those are the eyes that I was referring to as these new sets of eyes. But we also talk about, remember I said here's the one issue. You're meant to be in the spotlight. And I said, also, I've said this before in the read. I said, speaking of running, I said, Rebecca, you can't run away from the limelight. The limelight, being in front of the spotlight, being in front of eyes, being in front of 150 eyeballs or more, being in the public eye in some way. That's where you're supposed to go because that's where your voice is heard. Like your journey doesn't even start till you get into that spotlight. But then that's when we were reading, that's when you started attracting other people who are like, why her? Like, why does she get? Because they want to be at the top for all the wrong reasons. They want to be in the space where you're at, where you're talking, because what your space represents means dispensing of information. Well, they want to be there. They may not know. We talked. I know it's kind of confusing because it was confusing when I hear it me say it. It's like they may not know what they want to talk about. They just want to be in the space. Like, look at me. Like I'm professional. I'm this. I'm that. But you're there, right, Rebecca, and you're there is talking about things like you need to know these things, this and that. And so, yeah, it drew the wrong eyeballs. But these eyeballs I'm talking about. We were working against these eyeballs. We're like, basically, it was like a bit of a psychic confrontation. We're like, look, Rebecca's not going anywhere. She's going to advance, and even if her journey like reroutes and goes works in other directions, like they say, unexpectedly you'll be asked to do. We knew you were going to do talks, public talks, speaking, and people would bring you out, and you would, it would be phenomenal. Or you'd write a post, and it would be like, wow, the numbers would be amazing. So that's what we're talking about. Like you know, taking the limelight, stepping into the limelight even more. So, and of course, you question it. You're always, well, you're the one that's coming with information. You're the one that's going to be under all those eyeballs and under that hot light of the limelight. So yes, you're going to be meticulous. Yes, you're going to be careful, and yes, that's why I always say, even in the writing book, as an analogy, writing the book, I said, the technical part of you that is a writer is excellent for your project as the innovative writer, the creative writer. And they said not to lose that because it helps you to do exactly that, to be acute to all the things, elements you need to know. To, as you say, I like giving the technical, the facts, and go way up there. And that's what they want. That's what they need. And that's also how you attracted these specific, particular mindsets because of the way you write and because you are meticulous. So I definitely would say that's the pathway. I don't, of course, I'm not reading this as let's be mindful of these eyeballs that are out to, get us onto the wrong path. In fact, I'm saying not to focus on them as much as focusing on the eyes that you have, the eyes that you have on you now, the eyes that you're able to put on you right now. Like when you said, when you're considering going to the group of individuals who want you to do a talk for them, you would have already done the talk, but you're like, well, I can offer this, and for you to attend that, I would say is a way of like these other eyes, these new sets of eyes from a different group of people altogether under pressure of the fact that, or can I even trust the people who I'm aligned with in this? Like, like you said, I'm not going by myself. We're going together. Can I even are we going to be like, I mean, because of the tension of the past, can we really work together? Is that really possible? So I get the sense that you will not need to necessarily think meticulous as in I need to ward off the unwanted ice. Mm. Rather, we want to know that we're protected from those eyes. Like the guy that tried to that was jealous, and he wanted to take your light and asking like, why do you get to do this and that? He could not stop you from being in the public eye. He cannot stop that. That's not going to stop. He cannot keep you from that space. If he walked in that same space, said what he said, and you walk on and said what you're going to intending to say, it's going to be, the conversation will be so different. and the space is not the same space, even though it's in a 3D. It's the same podium. It's not the same space. Hmm. So that means eyes, prying eyes, or new eyes, eyes that work against us cannot stop this path. No, they cannot stop the path because you won the path, and your path is already confrontational anyway. You won it by in the middle of confrontation. That's how we discovered it. That's how when we discovered that this was what was happening. I was like, all this information is shifting this light, and we begin to investigate, and it's like, oh boy, you're stepping into a space where you can do these things, and then you've taken on the sort of like the torch to do so, we said this is what's going to permit and allow you if you choose, and you did exactly that, and it's only brought you but prosperity, and sense like the sense of renown is bringing you people to know you, to come to find you, and to hear the messages you share, whichever the messages you share. Not limited just to private messages of yourself, but also messages that are important, like the things that important to you, like the conversation. Mm-hmm. 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 Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. I get the feeling, first foremost, I get the feeling that he wants no parts of any of this. He wants to stay out of it. Like, Dan, please don't pull me into this. He gives me that vibe, but he's like, here you go. What do you think of this? Like, I think that he's like, Dan, are you sure you want to send this to me? Like, I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna show this to Kevin. Kevin needs to see this. It's that kind of thing. Like, you like, Dan, are you sure you want to go this route? Okay. Well, what is he telling me? Oh, okay, I'm gonna, yeah. Then his consciousness is like, I'm gonna send this to the people, to the right people. Look, I think you need to watch out for Dan. Look, read this. It's that kind of. It gives me that vibe. I think he's secretly trustworthy. It's like I don't like. Firstly, don't pull me in this. Secondly, what are you talking about, Dan? Dan, that's not right. Here, I'll send it to the like. Look, there's some things brewing. Be careful. This is what I was sent to me from, and it's who it's from. I think he is definitely like, I'm not here to start drama, but I'm not also here not to turn a blind eye to it. I know wrong is wrong, and you should know this. He gives me that feeling. I think that he doesn't want to be part of it anyway. So if you keep him at arm's length, like you said, it probably would be best. But so far as like trust goes, if he's siding with or if he's with Dan, I think he's not with Dan. I think he's like against Dan. I think Dan is trying to assemble, a little corner for himself, a little team. I think he's trying to get a little dialogue going, and it backfired as a situation. Like, you tell someone, you say this person is not going to, and the first thing they do is tell. Like, they're not going to tell. The first thing they do is tell. That's him. That is it. That's this gentleman who you're bringing into the reading. He's like, please don't tell me, because I don't keep secret, and especially if I don't want to be in the wrong. If we're in the wrong, we're in the wrong. I'll like pass along information to the person who needs to read it. And in this case, it's like, look, this isn't right. Let me pass. Like, just so you know, Kevin, you need to know this. That's where this is coming from. That's the heart and consciousness he's speaking from. That's the only reason why I cannot say that he's not. It's not that he's not trustworthy, and he doesn't want no part of it. It's not saying to be all trusting and all that. You might still sometimes want to like meet up with him from time to time, but I think that like karmically, he just wants a clear conscience. And he definitely, whatever it is about him, one thing is for certain, he doesn't agree with Dan at the moment. He's not agreeing with Dan. Like there's a certain level of like I guess social expectations that he puts on himself, and this is just not his thing. Dan is doing something that is not this gentleman's, actions. It's not. This is not his go-to. And so he's like, in that being defiant, he's like, I don't feel comfortable holding this information, so I need to do the right thing. So that's what I see. Ultimately, and the way it's going thus far, I would say that he's more likely to choose you over Dan or Kevin over Dan, Kevin and yourself over Dan. But like I said, he it's like he's very, very like he wouldn't choose sides, if I may say it that way. He wouldn't necessarily choose sides, right? But so far, he has so much respect for Kevin and yourself. I believe he respects Kevin so much that it's like if Dan is to send him anything, he's forwarding it right over to. I mean, excuse me. If the gentleman is if Dan sends the gentleman anything about Kevin, he'll send it right over to Kevin. Right, your husband. He'll send it right on over. At this point, is what I can see. I mean, if it's dire, if it's bad, he may not send anything more. Like if he keeps Dan keeps talking, unless Dan says something just outrageous, then he will send like like greater than what he's already. Then he'll send it. But other than that, he's not going to send anything else. What does he think of you? I think he has so much deep regard for your husband. I think that he like you're naturally included in that. He just like well, that's respect there. I respect Kevin, so I respect Rebecca, and he doesn't think that you're wrong. Like he doesn't think that Kevin or yourself are wrong. He does consider like I know them, meaning they are friends. I know them, but I know I more than know of them, and I definitely know them well enough. I wouldn't want Dan, like saying anything against integrity wise, like doing anything integrity, disrupting or say anything against you both or anything like that. That he wouldn't tolerate that. He would definitely say, I don't know how you feel about Dan, but he's no friend. He is no friend. He would be generous enough to point that out. Like Kevin, I know that he's behaving all professional, but this is what he's doing at night here. There you go. So that's the kind of person he is. Again, he won't go all out. He may not take a huge step out, but he'll discreetly take a step out there and do what's right. Is what I can see with him. Um, yeah. The reason why he doesn't get invested with Dan, he doesn't get infatuated with things. Like he gets infatuated with gets infatuated with things. The friend, this gentleman does not get infatuated. And he doesn't want to be the one that like the email box that's receiving all the mail. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want that either. So eventually he will say, "Look, Dan, you haven't moved. Maybe you should move on from this. It's not that big of a deal. Like maybe you should drop it, or like, you don't have to like say it, over and over, or like, or try to make this into something. Okay, just you got the position, fine, do the position. You know, do a great job at it, but you don't have to pull people in there like this. You don't have to have this kind of conversations." He will say that to Dan, like confronting Dan. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Understood. Blessings to both of you. Twin flames. Oh, complicated lives. Oof. What was I going to? Oh, yeah. My goodness. All right. Hmm. Okay. Whew. Mm. The sun is gorgeous. We're going to have some really fantastic weather. Hey. Hey. Okay. So, so let's see what we gather here. Oh, my goodness. Complicated information. Things get so complicated. The complicated information that comes through, but it's so good. So good. Like I'm always like needing that information to come through so nicely. It was like, you know what's going on? Like, yeah. I'm so happy for them. Hmm. Okay. This was at the highest of the highest vibration. Oh, that's why I said that. I'm like, whoa, what was that about? Oh. All right. So, yeah, I thought that I had in past, um, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I was settling because I had, and then I was like, this is what I am. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like overqualified. But this one is just right. And it's exactly the one that I wanted. And it's the highest one. It's the highest one. I said, after I leave from this one, I want to go to this one. And that's exactly what's happened. But I'm going to continue on with this one. Yeah, they've got so much going on. They need me. They need me to stay put. So I'm going to continue working with them. And in fact, I need to put together my next month's schedule. I got a crazy schedule too. From 3 a.m. to uh, 2 p.m. That's what I put on paper, but I sometimes I go beyond that because they'll ask me, but I go by their time. So I think at 2 p.m. is like 8 p.m. But like they're needing people to be on to like 1 a.m. in the morning their time, which is around, so if it's 8, okay, 5 hours up, so 7 o'clock my time. Which I mean, to be honest with you, sometimes I'm like, I will take an hour break from like two to like so from 2 to 3, and then come back or sometime, or come back at around like 5 o'clock. Then I can stay till 7. That's like 1 a.m. It's like 1 a.m. But I don't really need to do that now that I've got my new contract. I mean, like, why? I don't know. I have to think about it. I might do it. Who knows? Oh yeah, I said I was gonna do that this evening. I kind of already want to. I kind of want to do it now. Set up my schedule. Hmm, why not? It's a whole ordeal when I do this because I have to do the invoice. I have to do the schedule. Let me see. Okay. 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 So we did this. Excellent. Um, hold on. This was. So we need to go to my Outlook. What? Okay, hold on. Oh, I'm absolutely ready to do that. That's gonna be cool. Okay, shake it off. Get back to work. Um, Word. Okay. All right. Let's get it done. Okay. Don't worry about. Okay. Oh yeah, they said they wanted it separate this time. Okay. So we need to do. We can't do the invoice till tomorrow. Okay. Calendar is Friday. Wednesday. Oh, November 1st. Oh yeah. I gotta start from November 9th. Um, which is going to be Saturday. Okay, November 9th. Hey, is November 5th is Tuesday. November 9th is on Saturday. Okay, here we go. Saturday. I always do a month in advance. Sunday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Tuesday. And Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday. Friday. Okay. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday. Sunday. Monday. Tuesday. This is the way I do it. Sometimes I will copy paste, but Wednesday, Thursday. Making sure that no errors. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Monday, Tuesday. Oops. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, the 5th. Okay, and then the 9th, all the way to the 30th. Okay, so November only goes to the 30th this time. So we need to get rid of. Oops. So this means this. Okay, so this is actually should be Sunday. Whoops. Oh. Hmm. Well. Hmm. Sunday. Well. Monday. Tuesday. Thursday. Yeah. Why is the 6th on here? That's crazy. What? Please don't tell me I said I'm going to work for the 6th. I included the 6th. So with the 6th, that means I'm on for the 7th. I'm okay. I'm taking 7, 8, and 9 off then. I'm glad that was an oversight. Ooh, I'm glad I caught that because they would have rubbed that in so hard. Okay. Ooh. So Saturday. Hold on. 20, November. Okay. So Saturday, Sunday. So Sunday would be the first. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. Now, all right. All right. So, yeah, that's it. Oh, yeah. Now he's got to put November. Now, okay. This is going to be December. 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 Okay. And we're in November now. Mm-hmm. So that means I got to, so 6, 7, and 8. So that means 6, so 7, 8, and 9. Then come back on the 7, 8, 9. Come back on the 10th. So I can scratch coming back on the Sabbath. So nothing on the Saturday. And it's Sunday I come back. Okay. Okay. 404 4074 4074. Okay, so 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay. Now I can, let me see, invoice from the 1st through 31st October 2024. Oops. Hey. Okay. So, okay. And then the schedule end of it is going to be okay, so the invoice, okay, so 1st of October through 31st. Okay, the date of the invoice 10 31st. Phone name, boom, boom, boom. Okay, period, 1st, 10, 31st, 10. Boom, boom. Okay. November 1 through, okay, 1 through 5. I don't know if I should, okay. I'll do my little, okay, okay, so November, November, October. Oh, yeah, yeah, okay, okay. The schedule is to the 30th of November. Schedule, which is, okay, schedule is from the 6th, the 5th, the 6th. The 6th through the 30th. November. And then 1 through 5, December. I mean the 10th, because that's when I start. Yeah, the 10th, because I need to make up for taking a. So 6, 7. Okay, so 6, 7, 8. Then coming back on the 9th. I think that's okay. So with the base cycle, 1 through. Okay. Okay, so I'm scheduled for the 10th to the 30th, and then November, no, then December 1 through 5, through the 1st to the 5th. First, okay, through the 5th, got it. All right. And now, okay, let me write something nice for, okay, Carol, Carol, make sure I write it down here. Copy. Okay. Let's put this here. Oops. 0074. Okay. And I think that's fourth and fifth. Yeah, I guess that's it. I can't believe I put the six on there. Um, oh yeah, we did. Boom. Okay. Okay. I'll make these. There. Ooh, rough. Okay, which one are you? Total month. Okay. This down here. Hold on. Oh yeah. I can do. We can use this one. Okay. And then um, there. There we go. Invoice done. All right. So bills will be paid. Oh, now I just have to just wrap up these next few days. Then I can push send. All right. That's it. We'll be back soon.